Welcome to You Know Me, a podcast for Brunswick and the Golden Isles. I'm Buddha.
I'm the Beard.
Hey, Beard, this is my favorite time of year, not because it's just Halloween, but weather's getting cooler.
Fall.
It's fall.
Yeah.
And what I love about fall is we can finally sit outside a little bit, not have to worry about getting
Bit by mosquitoes.
eaten up and melting and everything else.
Yeah.
But what I like about this time of year is that this is when we break out the candles.
Yes, I was going to mention living in the Northeast. When I lived in Vermont on Interstate 91 on the way home in Springfield, Massachusetts, was the Yankee Candle Company, and this time of year always reminds me of all those fall.
We don't say that around here.
No.
Yeah, I get an asthma. I get an asthma attack when I walk into those places.
Yeah.
They're so full of.
They're just
Yeah.
awful.
But we are here
No,
with.
they're just, we don't.
You don't talk about that.
Our Bed Bath and Beyond,
No. So, but we are here with a wonderful lady it's Shelia Thurman, and she is with Waterway Candle Co. You are the founder, owner, operator,
Candler,
shipping and receiving.
Mad scientist.
logo maker, label maker. Yeah.
Sheila, introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about you.
That is such a broad question. And, it's kind of like that thing of, how do you eat a whole elephant?
One bite at a time.
So it's like, where do you start, though?
Let's start with the candle stuff.
The tail, the ear, the trunk. So the candles, love making the candles, love doing this whole thing. It's just so cool. It came about, really, Waterway Candle Co. started December 30th. How about that for knowing a time? Because it was an experience that I had. Prior to this, I had been the sniffer for a friend that was doing a candle business. And there's a lot to the business.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. And that wasn't for him, right? But I had been the sniffer and I would do markets and stuff for him and not getting paid, but I loved it. You met Norma earlier.
Yeah.
My sidekick, kind of she's not old enough to be my mother. But anyway, so that ended in November, and I kind of had this grieving thing, man, it was more than just free candles. And so this little depression about it. And then I just said, well, why don't you start your own candle company? And that's what I do. And I called Norma, and she's kind of my advisor in life. And she said, yes, that's great. I had zero idea of what to do, what to call the company. I knew it was going to take months of testing,
right? Because
I had experienced that piece of it, months of testing. But this is how I got the name. I was married to a man named Bill Dart. People around here would know Bill. And he died in 2010, and he was a force of nature, good Lord. And he had this company that he started from nothing called Waterway Foods International. He was a seafood broker. And he was something. And so I went to bed, and I had this dream right before awakening kind of dream. And in the dream, I had this table, this long, overwhelming table, and I was trying to pour, and I felt him behind me. In the dream, we were still married, and I was more like, hey, Bill. And he said, I just want to thank you and feel honored that you named your company after Waterway. And I woke up, and
there it is.
That's how it got burst out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, that's a great way to name a business.
To me, it's just my way of rolling, I guess you'd say in life, my philosophy is, ain't none of it mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its own rhythm. My job is to show up, let it unfold, being willing to move with whatever direction is presented to me.
Right.
And it's happened.
Wow.
I mean, mean, just the space. Is this not cool?
This is a really cool
Cool
space.
space.
Yeah, folks. I mean, this is really a cool workshop here
Isn't it
with the Zen backyard. And I wish it was still daylight. We'd probably take some pictures out there.
You come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great place to work. I mean, thinking about crafting and you're doing your candles. Like, what a great place to make cheesecakes.
Hey, I have an actual house out front with an oven and everything. We could look,
They could collaborate.
we could do, we'll talk about
You
that.
can have a cheesecake by Frank candle. Cheesecake candle.
I can see something happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And I have another business in the front of the house.
You have
So I have
business.
the yeah. You want to hear about that?
Sure. Sure.
Because I've been here on St. Simon's since early 91, 92, something like that. And I'm a therapist, kind of like you guys talked about. And I've been in practice this whole time. And when my second husband that died, can you believe I had 2 husbands die? Isn't that
Yeah.
at my young age? It's weird, isn't it? So I had an office building, and I ended up, nobody's here, son's gone, da-da-da-da-da. So the front house is my clinical office, and I work in there 2 days a week. And see, I haven't taken new clients since Scott died in 2020. So I've got that 2 days a week, and then I'm here 5 days a week. Isn't that perfect?
Yeah.
Who has that lifestyle?
That's a perfect.
I'm so jealous.
I mean, I say all the time, universe has my back.
Yeah.
And it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
That's wonderful.
It's the truth.
So you get into the candle business. You've got a beautiful looking candle, the green glass and the tops and the labeling and the artwork. How'd you get all this?
Hand me one of those, would you? Because I know the glass, It's just because you notice the glass, but what I chose this because it is a recycled wine bottle.
Wow.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Love it.
And of course, biodegradable cork.
Yeah.
So it's all upcycled,
That's great.
recyclable, upcycled, everything. So I'm very ecologically minded.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. So I order it from a company. I see all those boxes coming in. Like I have to order 1,000 of them to make it affordable. I sell these for $28.
That's not bad.
That's cheap
Yeah.
for a handmade, highest quality fragrance oil.
Yeah.
That I know of. If I find something of a higher quality, I will be switching. This fragrance oil is of such high quality that you can use it as lotion.
Yeah.
People who make soap and lotions and potions and such use this. And then soy wax.
Yeah.
So it's just really high quality wax and fragrance oils. Now, finding the right wick, now that is some, people don't realize the months that goes into the right wick. Well, you see that window over there and that fishing net? All, those are all different wicks, and I've tried them all for every candle. It's just, so you have to find the right wick that plays with the right wax. So the wick and the wax have to play well together. And that'll also be determined by the vessel,
Okay.
you see.
Yeah.
You see, so, and then the wax and the wick will also react to different fragrance oils.
Right. So it's all about the burning time, right?
Well, burning time, that's not, we'll go into that conversation. Because people say, how long does this candle burn? And the true answer is it depends on you.
Yeah.
Depends on the burner. But, those companies that we're not mentioning, they have 80 to 120 hours. And you can't get that from them, but you better know how to burn a candle. So this one, y'all have to excuse me, I'm not eligible for bifocals or progressives. I've got this weird, it's not my eyes, it's my brain. You'll pick up on it. if you haven't already. So instead of most candle companies, they just order these warning labels,
generic.
from China and slap them on. Well, this is one of the things I'm kind of proud about. I made my own label, and here's the warning on it. You can't see it. It's the smallest font you can get, but it does remind you not to burn the candle in the baby crib.
Right.
And don't leave it on the dog's bed, and
don't put any gasoline on it.
Right. So that important. But then it says candle care instruction. While burning, allow enough time for the melt pool to touch the edges of the vessel. So what that means is you burn it until it's melted around the edge. So many people want to savor their candle, so they just burn it a little bit and they blow it out. Well, wax has a memory, you see. And so if you burn it to this circle and you blow it out, it will never go past that circle. It will burn and that's called tunneling.
Yeah.
So you have a candle that tunnels up. You say, this is a crappy, it tunneled, this is crappy. Well, how did you burn? Did you burn it so the melt pool is all the way to the edge? So if not, that's a problem. You see, does that make sense what I'm saying? And so
It does make sense. I never knew that. But
I didn't either until I got into the candle world.
Right. But you know what though? When I light a candle, I'd let it go.
You do the power burn.
Yes.
That's what I call it. And I test mine for power burn. I do it's on, blow it out, all the way across, blow it out. Because I want to see how much time if you burn it correctly. Yeah. I want to know how much time. But with a power burn, I want to know if it's going to explode.
Oh my gosh.
If the vessel can handle the heat. And if you're going to power burn, and if it's wicked up, it can get some flame on it.
Yep. Yeah.
So you do need to read the warnings.
Okay.
But no,
I will do that next time.
And then another, not really. The other one is trimming the wicks. So I have any burn. So there's one over here. Did I just mess this up?
No, you didn't.
So, okay, I was testing to see how this is. So there's a mushroom on top of this guy.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's all right. But you don't want to relight it. You want to go ahead and I have a bunch of I sell wick clippers actually over there, and then burn it with that.
Okay.
Every time you burn a candle, you blow it out. The next time you go to burn it, clip the wick. Burn it long enough that the melt pool goes to the edge and clip the wick. That's not hard.
No. This is all new.
So it's all right here. I'm going to give you guys a candle for a holiday present.
Awesome.
And I'm not giving you pumpkin bread. You're probably sick of that.
Pumpkin spice.
And I'm kind of like that. I'm like, oh, pumpkin.
I know. I'll be making a lot of pumpkin cheesecakes pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big seller, right? Yeah. So this one will burn. It's got it on there. However many hours. It says 50 to 70, 60 to 70 hours. Now, and that is only if you burn it correctly. So if it doesn't burn correctly, we will have a conversation about exactly did you burn it.
All right. So this is informative for me.
Yeah.
Because I did not know.
No, I just light it and forget about it, and then when I leave the house, I blow it out.
Which is the way to go. That's what I do. But when I relight it, I clip that wick.
Yeah, that's one.
Clip that wick. Yeah. Otherwise, you get the smoke too.
Right. And then you get the little sparks, right? And that's what causes some fires.
And it gets hot. I know they catch fire, but I don't like these type. I know like when I was in graduate school, we have, the candles burning, melting, and, stuff caught fire, but we were on fire. So, you know what I mean? You just deal with it.
Now, so speaking about the candle, I see this one's called Rustic Vanilla. You have a lot of different smells, different labels with different. How do you come up with all these different scent profiles?
So masculine.
That's yeah.
Isn't that nice?
So, I smell the vanilla. Is there leather in there?
There's some leather and what is called smoke.
Okay.
Fireside.
Yeah.
So it's got.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. I smell the leather. Smell the vanilla bean.
Oh, you got it good.
And but you mentioned the fireside. I smell that.
Smell that little smoky, that rusty.
Rusty.
So vanilla is a number one seller in candles. It's number one, right? Yeah. So I had to have a vanilla in the collection, and I went through a lot of them, and I'm not a big fan of just straight up vanilla. It's everybody has their thing. I'm more of a masculine fragrances, and some people are real floral, and some people are clean spa like, and a lot of people like food smelling kind of ones. So I played with this one enough. Let's see, what did I call it? Oh, and I love my descriptions. Well, you could read the description for me. I have to keep swapping.
Intriguing and masculine, creamy vanilla warmed with clove, jasmine, and amber. That's pretty good to me. Yeah. That.
You smell it? You get the nose.
Yeah, you get that.
Yeah.
It's definitely the leather. Yeah, this is totally good.
So, and now that you smell the I'm so glad we got extra hand. So if you would hand us, they're in alphabetical order, the very bottom to the right. Now, this is vintage leather. Ooh. It's one of my, people either love it or they do not love it. So I should be able to. Clean and nostalgic blend of leather, cedar, and musk. Ooh. So leather was a little bit harder I had to nail that down because you don't. That's what I love to hear when somebody sniffs something. I smell it, and it's like and see. Okay, here's something you.
Wow, that's.
Okay, I know which one.
I'm trying to figure out.
Like I'm putting on a leather. I'm like walking to Wilson's leather store. Putting on a leather jacket, and that's what it smells like.
It's like vintage.
It's like almost like reminds me of like my leather jacket in high school.
That's the vintage I was going for.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's got a smoke in
it. Almost I'm gonna put on my leather jacket, get in my Trans Am, and go to pool hall.
Okay, it just took you somewhere. You see?
Yeah.
That fragrance took you somewhere.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I want my fragrances to give you a little vacation.
Right.
Exactly.
Just for a minute, you're at some place that you dig.
It takes you back to some place or that memory that like that happens sometimes. Like I'll smell something or like I'm going through a grocery store, just a store, and I smell like just this faint smell, and I'm like, man, that reminds me of when I was a kid and I went to Italy or. Yeah,
it's exactly. Smell it. Well, okay, a little science. You ready for a little science?
Yeah.
You guys can't see. I can just chat about candles.
I love it.
I mean,
that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So the olfactory nerve is the only nerve in the body that goes directly to the brain. All of our other nerves go to other nerves. They go to other nerves. It goes straight to the brain, and it is. Instrumental in memory recall. Instrumental. So when you're like, oh, it reminds me of my high school jacket, I'm like, yes. John Hopkins did this study. This was some years ago. You'll start seeing what I do in my other business if I'm not careful. That where they were working with people who had dementia and Alzheimer's. And so the study was while these subjects slept at night, they would burn not candles, more like wickless candles. I got a wickless candle set. You'll freak out. They're fabulous. And they would. It never really said a fragrance. It was kind of like, okay, with you, Beard, you talked about leather, high school. That takes you somewhere. With you, say you're 95, cheesecake and whatever. So they would put these fragrances in their room sleeping at night for X number of hours, and they had different groups. So the study concluded, this was the findings, and I mean, it blew me away. This was before I got into all this, that using fragrance with these patients at night while sleeping improved memory. Get ready. 220%.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So,
Damn.
so how important is what you're smelling
Right.
day to day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I believe it. It's like I've had moments, like I mentioned, where just some whiff of something, and it reminds me of, you know, what one time when I was hanging out with my cousin and my friend Charlie. Like, it's just such weird how a smell can bring back such a odd, obscure,
Just
one moment in time in the past.
and one person even. You
Yeah.
know, something. So, can I get another one? Sorry. You're so handy. Top left. Yeah.
Yeah,
This was, my dad died June 2021. I had a whole slew of them. And so this is, my dad lived in a little trailer off the Ohio River in the south end of Louisville. Always has. That's where I was born and raised. And you walk in his little trailer, and this is what it smelled like. Coffee and cigar.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I'd have to figure out how to get some bourbon in there to make it spot on. But
Yeah.
in Kentucky, you put bourbon in your
Oh,
coffee.
yeah.
Well, even bourbon, coffee, and cigars it's just a
Bourbon and
staple.
cigar is a big
Yeah.
match for me.
Wow, that's
You like it?
yeah.
See, these two, the leather. Sorry to tap on the table and mess up your recording. I forget we're recording. I feel like we're just hanging out.
It is.
That's the,
Talking
that's,
is-
that's the whole
So,
thing of
yeah,
a podcast.
because
yeah.
I'm pretty organic chick. Is that well? I lost what I was going to say. Do you remember?
About the coffee, cigars,
I felt like that was leading to
yeah,
another
the candle, the
thought
leather.
string. Oh yeah, these are two fragrances. People love them or they hate them. There's a lot of people just like them. Everybody sea salt and orchid. Everybody likes that. So I tell people, they're like, I got to get a present for somebody. I'm seaside and orchid, dried gin, and cypress up there. Everybody likes that. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, you have to know your person,
Right.
to get into some of the other fragrances. So how did your original question? How did I get these 12 fragrances in my standard collection? And I narrowed it down from about 45, 50 that I was creating. I was like a mad scientist, truly. Yeah, like, and then Norma, who's out there, I go to her con. I'm like, here, try it, and I've all these issues. Yeah. How about a little lemongrass maybe, and back to here and do, and then you got to let them cure.
Right.
So it's not like you can do them and go burn
Yeah.
them. You got to, let them do that.
And it's almost like chemistry because you got to write everything, how many ounces you poured, how many ounces.
It's not like chemistry.
It is.
It's chemistry and math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wish I had paid attention
No.
in school. When kids say, "Well, we're not gonna need math and chemistry," I said that too. I was wrong.
I know.
It's wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is like that.
Yeah.
So it's when you start a candle company, the recommendation for number of fragrances is 8.
Okay.
I got 12, but that's my nature more.
Yeah. And then seasonal candles too. Or?
That's over here.
Yeah.
So those, I just finished these up and they're ready to go. Christmas tree, peppermint candy, pumpkin bread, and spiced cedar cider. That's this one's Christmas tree.
See, I love Christmas tree.
Me too. That's
Oh, yeah. That's the things that growing up, we always had a real Christmas tree.
I
So we
still
could
do.
walk into the living room and
Yeah.
they had that pine, the Christmas tree smell. And that's one
that
of those
just took you
childhood-
there.
Oh, yeah.
That just took you there,
It
didn't it?
does. Yeah.
Just took you there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Yeah, good,
This is-
good. See, good. I knew I had to get this, and it's a combination of it's got balsam and cider and cedar, balsam, cedar, and pine. So it's got it's not like pine. It's
No, but you get the nice. You get the pine. I mean, you get the cedar.
yeah.
And what's nice is it kind of balances each other out. So
It's real soft.
because the cedar is just a great smell.
I have to tell you about that smell coming up. It's for my personal collection.
Yeah, cedar is a great
I
smell.
have a moth problem.
You do?
And I have a moth problem in my front of my house, and it's not. I don't have it right this second, but this house was built in 42.
Wow.
Yeah, this house was built in 42, and 65. And do you know that Johnny Cash song about the car that's built in all those years? That's what it's like. This piece was 1990, so this is my father-in-law's house, and it's just been built on and on and on and on. But the front gets these weird things happen. And so during the storm, a cedar tree came down and down there, and they cut it all upside. Went down there in my minivan and loaded up with cedar and stuck it behind everything, trying.
Right.
But just today I thought, I'm going to make cedar wickless candles. You have to burn them. They're awesome. And I bet I'll get rid of those moths. You have to come back and see if my experiment works.
I will. Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then can you reach the peppermint candy? Now that's not necessarily a popular candle for Christmas. I made it because I wanted it.
Well, peppermint's
And that's
great.
the thing, I have to pick things that I like because I might be pouring the lights out of them, right?
Right.
But when I was a room mother at Oglethorpe Elementary, my son had the best teacher, kindergarten, first grade, Miss Russell. I mean, I still remember her name. She was the best, and I learned so much from her. And one of the things is she taught me that peppermint stimulates brain activity. And so before those poor little children had to do that standardized government test, it's so hideous, ridiculous. But
Very
that's
ridiculous.
another topic, isn't it? Another topic. Poor children.
Don't get me started on it.
Okay.
Your kids are still in school.
My kids are still in school.
My kids are all out of school.
Yeah.
It is just okay.
Yeah. That'll be.
We're teaching kids how to take tests.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
And so it's just, but she would give the children a piece of peppermint candy for the test.
Oh, it's nice.
And so then they kind of looked forward to the test instead of because they'd get the candy, but she said it stimulated their brain. So that always stuck with me. And this one was hard to come out with because peppermint oil it'll burn your eyes.
Yeah.
You know what it's
Yeah, I have some
it's,
peppermint extract because they do a cheesecake.
It's like,
And you just make,
Powerful. I smell
so
that
I
even.
softened it with some vanilla and sugar. So it ended up smelling like candy.
Yeah,
which I-
that's like
isn't that nice.
one of those candy shops. The old fashioned.
I think that's what the North Pole smells like.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you do.
That's what
But you get
Miss
that.
Claus smells like.
You get the vanilla of it. You get that. It's like that peppermint's right on top of it.
Yeah. It's
And
the top
the vanilla.
note.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. That's a strong one too. I smell it still from here.
Yeah.
And see, that's another point is what we're getting, opening and smelling. We're talking about cold throw.
Okay.
So there's cold throw
throw.
and hot throw.
Right.
So when you're making a candle, you want a good both.
Right.
So sometimes it's like it doesn't have a cold. I'm not getting it. I light it and it's like whoosh, and so you have to find the chemistry
Yeah.
that will give to you the cold throw and the hot throw.
Yeah. And that all comes down to how much oil you put in, right?
Does the
And if you're using, say, 3 different fragrance oils, what percentage of each
Right.
will you use, assuming you're going to use 1 ounce of oil for a 16-ounce candle?
Right. Right.
That's some math.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, I've screwed up more than once.
well, it's
I went back and said, my math was complete.
But I could imagine you probably made some candles, lit it, and there was no smell at all.
Or
throw.
the smell I didn't expect.
Right.
It's like I have this bottom note. I'm expecting it to be this, and then it's just,
Yeah, you're expecting that vanilla leather, and you got
yeah.
peppermint candy.
Don't know what you're going to get. And what I've learned, it's trial and error. The most important thing is that it's weird. in making a good candle is when you heat your wax up 185 degrees, set it aside. It has to cool. I do. Everybody's a little bit different. I like it about 165, 70. Add the fragrance oil. Now, here's the thing. 2-3 full minutes. You know about stirring.
Yep.
Stirring. And initially I was like, I'm sure that they're exaggerating. You know, it can't be that, you know. Well, I learned it's not exaggeration. And what came to me was I have hummingbird feeders, right? I love hummingbirds. And, you know, you mix the sugar in with the water.
Right.
You got to stir. I was like, oh, the oil is like the sugar going, and you've got to, and that's a chemical reaction taking place. It's happening at a molecular stage. It's like there's molecules in there figuring out who wants to talk to who.
Who wants to buy.
Like this little gang says no, and they say, and you just got to keep.
And it has to be at a specific temperature, or that binding won't happen.
If it's too hot, your fragrance oil is going to burn off, and you won't get the throw.
Yeah.
If it's too cool, it won't melt in with.
Yeah. It's amazing because it's like cooking. You want to have a flavor profile.
Yeah.
And you want to, and I think most people who enjoy cooking like I do, if you're making something, you want to make sure everyone tastes everything that you make. Like you make a sauce, but you don't want it to, you want to taste the tomatoes, the onions, the garlic, the basil. You know, if you throw something like green pepper in it, then all you got to taste is green pepper, and you lose your flavor profile.
Right.
So this is the same thing.
Same thing.
You have this palette for your nose. It's a fragrant profile, and that you want to make sure that you're hitting all those notes.
Yes.
And what's really cool is like, you know, the goal is like, since this is a peppermint candy, you want that first hit to be the peppermint. Yeah. And then you can definitely get to the sweetness of the sugar and the vanilla kind of right after.
Yeah. Second and third.
Yeah.
Getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It does bring back a lot of fond memories of childhood, or maybe something that happened last week, or but smells do that, fragrances do that, even if it's food.
Same thing. No taste, no smell, taste, same thing.
Yeah.
It's
you know,
absolutely.
You have, for me, when I'm making sauce, because my son was here, so we did a cooking bonanza for him, and every recipe I have is up here. Nothing's been written down ever. So we're starting it to write things down. So we made some sauce. That smell of the onions and the garlic, the olive oil, when you start making your spaghetti sauce, that's a time machine for me.
Yeah.
That just takes me right back to when I was a kid. This Sunday morning. Coming down the stairs, waking up with that smell.
Yeah.
Because, you don't just buy a jar, dump it in a pot 5 minutes before you cook your pasta. No. This thing's been sitting on the stove since 7 o'clock in the morning.
Nana's been stirring that spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
So even though this smells like peppermint, and, we have the rustic vanilla, anytime something like that triggers memory, it brings me back to that very first memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though it's onions and garlic. But it's amazing. And candles do that. I love candles, because I was telling you earlier, and I always will burn something at night when we're eating, or have it like kind of behind us as we're watching TV or something like that, because it's a lot of fun. But you said something about the hot and the cold throw. Is there a difference in aroma from hot and cold? If we're smelling the peppermint candy one, if we were to light it, would there be a difference into how it would burn as we were smelling it right now?
Well, that's a fine question. I would say, I would hope not.
The goal is for it to be the same.
So if I like this, and you take it home and burn it, I want it to be the same.
Yeah.
Because that's a good question. I'm actually going to ask my testers to.
The test to do that. Like, we're gonna have a one day cold sniff, and then next day we'll do
Burn.
burn.
Take it, stiff it,
And it's
burn
great.
it, sniff it.
But we're sitting here in the workshop, and it just smells great anyway. And I made the point, like walking into Yankee Candle, and you just get like headaches and asthma attacks because it's just way overwhelmed. This is just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to.
And speaking of this, so okay, the wax has a lot to do with throat. Okay, some bigger companies that we won't name, they use paraffin wax,
I've heard of that, yeah.
and paraffin has an awesome throw. This really does it can throw, but it throws more in fragrance. Throws some toxin, there's some other. It's not necessarily clean, but it can throw. So like the wax melts up there. You know what those are. I'm sure you
Yeah.
break them and
Yep.
put them in the melter. So those I pour with 70% paraffin, 30% soy, because they're not on fire, but they throw because they're paraffin.
Yeah.
They fill up your house.
Wow.
Yeah, so that matters.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is great. This is why we came here. Why I wanted to come here, because I've enjoyed candles, and looking, like you said earlier before we got on, like you can go to Michael's and get a little candle making kit, but this is candle making.
Yeah.
That's not candle making.
Well, I can
That's a project with your 5-year-old.
Yeah. Just looking at your, I'm assuming that's what you use to melt your wax.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right. The little one in the middle is what I use for paraffin and soy combined.
Okay.
And then the other two are soy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping next year, I really want to get into coconut and apricot wax. It
Okay.
just sounds cool.
I
I'd
knew
like
about
to.
coconut. I didn't know apricot.
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing happening. And I'm like, I want to play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
See, of course, that business has to. But I think it's going to be fine. It's just new, and
That's fantastic.
So speaking about being a new business, how has marketing been for a new upcoming business?
Do you have any suggestion? That's not my thing. I don't know. I need to hire somebody to do something. I know. I mean, my focus, of course, on all the testing, and I got it down to I'm happy with my product. And then it started. The focus was on the website. Get the website.
Right.
Well, that's not an overnight matter.
No, it's not.
No, but you got to put all the product, the description, the price, the shipping, the taxes, probably.
So Shopify. So my website's on Shopify, and they say, create your website in an hour or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, I can do that. And then 6 weeks later, I hired somebody. But it was great. This group of guys called IT Geeks, and they're great. And because I they call me Mama. What you gonna do now, Mama? And like what changes? And we worked really well together. But they could do. I could tell them what I'm visualizing, and they could do it. I would have never been able to do it. But I created my logo. I created the labels. I even did the photographs on the website. So take a look at it. Look at the website. It's
Okay.
So when you first pop up, there's and just I'll give you the story of it. When you first pull up the website, there's this tiny little video starting, and I'm actually at the beach, and I'm trying to get some photographs right, and something, and it's windy. I'm frustrated. I'm like, my label's getting, and I hear behind me this group of young guys like hooting it up, having a good time, like just, and they got a soccer ball, and I'm talking 28, 30-year-old, and their energy is just fabulous, just like high vibration, fabulous. And So I was like, hey guys, let me, blah, blah, blah. Would you all want to? They were all from Atlanta, the athletes or whatever. And, you want to help a sister out? Here's what I need. And they were like, yeah, they got behind it. So I was like, how about you just walk in front of the, I have the candle on this little thing. And you just kind of walk, okay. And I was like, that's really boring. Like y'all came out here like jamming.
Yeah.
And now you're like no, I want it to be, they're like, what do you want? I was like, I don't know, do a flip. Do some flips, dance, And the next push to go, and the top is even crooked in the video, but it's like it was too sweet. It didn't matter. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? And these guys, they were great. So they come walking, and one of them does a flip in the back.
That's awesome. It's great.
It's the best. You got to check out that little video. I mean, it's just a few seconds.
What's the website so we can tell everyone?
Waterway Candle Co.com.
There it is.
There you go.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Waterway Candle Co.com. It just went live maybe last week. So I have some of my friends ordered so that I would know what to do, because I don't. I was like, what? I don't know. What do you
happens
do when
next?
I
gotta buy shipping boxes.
yeah. And I still use a lot of reuse boxes, Amazon box. So if I can use a box, I collect them. And I have these stickers that says, do not judge a box by its cover.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
It's like this box has been shipped before, it's been somewhere else, which is like all of us.
Yeah.
We've been somewhere.
yeah.
You thought you knew me.
Then you're probably like, I gotta buy a label maker, I gotta buy box shipping tape, I gotta buy bubble wrap. So you need the old shipping department.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing happening.
Yeah.
And so, there's a process. I trust it. It's so far, every challenge that I have been confronted with, it was solved, and the right people came along, and it's like that whole community thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm community's huge for me. It's like this. I love my community. I love my community. So I've always got somebody to guide me in one direction or another. But I'm making it up as I go. I'm what do they say? Learning to fly after you jump.
Well, that's good motivation for anybody that's listening, because if they want to try something, already been wanting to try something, it's basically just do it, and whatever happens, you do it.
Beard, that's exactly what I tell people. Yeah. The only thing that blocks us off from having what we want in life is fear.
Yeah,
that's right.
Fear of the unknown, fear of embarrassment or humiliation, afraid of failure, afraid of success.
Yeah.
People are afraid to succeed too.
Yes,
I'll be like, what if I get a bunch of work? What if I'm a success? I might have to work. Oh God.
Yep.
Gotta burn the midnight oil.
Like, oh my gosh.
Burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah. Well, I've done that my whole life. It's just my candle's gotten shorter.
You're right. It's big owning a business.
It can be if you let it be. You got to keep the right perspective. You gotta keep the right glasses on, and just it's not a big deal. My son, he and I are tight, and I was like stressing about something, and I'm texting him and whatever, and I won't say the word. He said, we have open language in our relationship, and he said, "Mom, remember, it's just candles." I was like, thank you, baby. That's what I needed to hear. I'm not doing brain surgery. I'm not getting into your soul.
Well, I mean, the way these candles smell, I don't know.
Well, no, but it's a part of you.
Right.
It's a part of you that you're putting out there for the rest of the world.
Totally.
So that
fear of judgment,
Yeah.
That's out. You have to
I
work through some of that.
I understand.
You
that.
work. There's some fears.
Is it you can't please everybody?
Right.
I know that.
No.
I owned a couple pizza places, Italian restaurants up in South Carolina for a little bit. I took a break from accounting and finance, and I wanted to kind of scratch my entrepreneurial itch. And I bought one restaurant, turned it into two restaurants. Thing was, we did this. It was a square pan pizza. It wasn't a round pizza. If I had $1 for everyone that came in and said, "Yeah, you all don't have a round pizza," it's like, well, it's pizza. It's just square. It's still kind of thin crust. It wasn't like that Sicilian, it's still a thin crust. People love it. I think it tastes really good. I can't eat but a round pizza, and they'd walk out. Yeah. Now I could sit there and be upset about that, or just like, well, I still have an open table for someone who wants to have some pizza.
Right.
And because at first the first time that happened, I was actually floored. I was like, what? But you get used to it, but you're gonna find somebody's going, "Oh, this doesn't smell like peppermint. I don't know what you're talking about. I want something else."
Absolutely.
And you're like,
absolutely.
Then you don't understand it, and I don't need you as a customer.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
And
it's fun. You don't like peppermint. Oh, sorry. Bob, I'm trying to not make background noise for these fellas. But I'm a spaz.
it's perfectly
So,
fine.
Yes.
I go, oh, any but yeah, everybody likes it different.
Yeah.
That's fine. But a square pizza, come on.
I know.
But here's one of the things, Norma, you guys met Norma. So who's really my like Yoda? She really is. She's like, she's my Yoda. And when I'm dealing with fear, I'm like, And she said, you got to remember the 1/3 rule. Have you ever heard the 1/3 rule? She said, in life, 1/3 of the people are going to love you, and they're going to love everything you do, and they're going to support you, and they got your back. 1/3 of the people are going to despise you, be jealous of you, vengeful of you, and they hate you. 1/3 aren't even going to know you exist.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So which third you want to play to?
Right.
You're going to play to trying to please the ones who don't like you, because then you're going to lose some of the ones that do.
Yeah.
And then, because it's 1/3, you can't. It's not.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, and you did that, like, that's good data. I know what third there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some criticism that you take, and there's some that you just throw away because it just is. It's meaningless, and it's someone else's rant.
Right. Yeah.
I've had
The rants.
people complain about, so and so at my restaurant made the pizza wrong, or, I had a lot of high school kids. I think one night some kids forgot an order, and this guy came in hot and said, "Who are you going to fire?" I'm like, "I'm not going to fire anybody." 2 weeks later, the guy's back in and go, "Hey, Frank, how you doing? God, hey, where have you cooked before? Because I swear we've had." I'm like, "Dude, if you haven't been at my house at Christmas, then you have not had my cooking before." This is like the first time I actually had a restaurant, and yeah, I've cooked all my life, but this is my first ever restaurant. So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Just doing some butt kissing because he knew he messed up last time, and he's just trying to. And there's other people I told kindly, except for one, kindly, that you don't need to come back here again. Thank you for coming this time, but they point you down to another pizzeria down the street.
Go to Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Get some lard.
But yeah, so you're gonna meet those people, and I think I've always kind of had the duck with the water rolling off your back kind of mentality. Nothing really.
Yeah.
Gets too hard a lot. There's a few things that kind of get through the armor here and there.
Oh yeah.
But I think what you've done is you created 12 products that you like. And that's what I set out when I was doing like the cheesecakes and other stuff. Is I'm making the stuff how I like it. Because if I like it, then other people don't like it too.
Yeah.
And if they don't, okay. It's got to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Got to be okay.
There's a lot of people in this world.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be okay.
people in this world.
And, you know, we just can't take it too seriously.
No.
I always like to say that this whole lifetime is the equivalent of 8 minutes in third grade. How important is it?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you all. I'm down to my last 2 or 3 minutes. I'm not going to waste it on yeah. There's just too many. There's too much beauty
Yeah.
in the world. I can spend my day focusing on things to appreciate and love. And you guys are in that group now. Or I can focus on, it's going to cost you a cheesecake.
Yeah.
I'll trade you a candle for cheese. You know, it's like we create our own reality, right?
Yeah.
I create the reality I want by focusing my attention on things I appreciate or things that ain't right. Well, he ought not. Well, that ain't, what?
Right.
I got 2 minutes left, man.
Yep.
I want to burn candles and eat cheesecake.
There you go. That sounds like
She swim naked at midnight under the full moon. I got 2 minutes.
It sounds good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
With throwing some coffee, cigars, and some bourbon, we're good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the way to do it right there.
Cheesecake, cigars, bourbon, coffee.
But don't smuggle in the mangoes.
That's right.
No
mangoes.
No mangoes.
Yeah. Don't smuggle in the oranges, the mangoes.
No mangoes. And I know mangoes because I smuggled them in.
Uh-oh.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't take the class, and I was in St. Thomas, and a guy who grew up here, and I had a suitcase full of mangoes.
Ooh,
Did you get in trouble?
They were really nice, and but they took the mangoes. They had
Yeah,
to
of
take them
course,
away.
yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like I've been likened to being like a Lucille Ball person. So they're like, you can't have what? But they grow up, And so it was more like we all had a good laugh, and
Yeah.
the mangoes went away.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what we do with the mangoes.
You eat them?
Yeah. No, we don't eat them. Everyone thinks we do. Everyone thinks that
I would.
all the food that we take that we eat it. No, they get so 2 things happen to them, depending if it's set up for it. One is we have a grinder, so we have an industrial grinder that's hooked up to a different sewer system, and it gets sanitized. So it gets grinded, and then it gets sanitized, and then it gets washed out to wherever. The other thing is incineration. So they'll just get incinerated. But
It's reasonable.
yeah, but that's, anybody that's listening, it's to prevent
Yeah,
basically plant diseases and
absolutely.
pests from coming into the United States.
Absolutely.
So, or else we wouldn't there's a lot of stuff that we have down here in coastal Georgia. We had some of these really bad insects. We wouldn't have the beauty that we have.
Right.
So
Somebody told me these little brown lizards came in on some pineapples from someplace.
yes, it probably.
And they've just taken over the green lizards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the anole, whatever
Yeah.
they're called.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we got a ton of them, and I don't mind them because down here there's so many bugs.
Yeah.
There's one when I worked in my garden. I had a little garden when I was he would sit by the step as I'm going through the garden and wait there. I'd find a grub and I'd put it right next to him on the step, and he would eat it. And then he'd just sit there. And anytime I was out there, he'd just show up, and he was trained. And I
wow.
was like, hey, you're my little lizard buddy.
Here's
You made a connection.
And so I call him Larry because he was definitely male. He had that thing underneath that he puffs beard, and he'll kind of pose a little bit once in a while. So it was Larry the lizard, and every time I was out there, my little garden up there, I'd find a grub and I just put it on the step, and he would just
eat it.
eat it up. So yeah, and we have I have a work shed in the back, and I opened it up this summer, at the beginning of summer, and I found a whole bunch of eggs, shells of baby lizards that all had hatched. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a whole lot of lizards this year.
You better get digging those grubs.
Yeah, start feeding them.
So yeah, we got a lot of them around. So I've been doing some major landscaping rework. We've had a lot of overgrowth, and so I'm clearing a whole bunch of areas spot out so I can do some raised garden beds and stuff like that. Yeah, so as I'm clearing stuff out, I'm like displacing a lot of these lizards. But thing is, they're resilient. They find new homes real fast.
Real fast, real fast.
But yeah,
So you're going to be growing your own veggies.
I'll be back to growing my own veggies hopefully next summer.
Nice.
Yep. And hopefully have as soon as I get rid of all those branches from that, and those branches like the size of my leg, for crying out loud. My little moment of zen over there. Once I get all that stuff cleared out from the hurricane. But yeah, so it's you have these things. We got the garden. I like to cook, but those aromas and things like that can go into a candle for the most part. Not that you could have like a Caesar salad flavored candle, but like the beets and the carrots. So there's some very aromatic.
Cucumber.
The cucumber.
There's which I've played with and I haven't. Tomato. Tomato vine, I think it's called, but it needs some things.
Basil.
Love the basil.
Tomato basil.
Yeah. Okay. Roger that.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'll be growing a lot of basil. I love basil.
But basil on sandwiches, eggs, food. Love it. Love it.
Yep.
I like that.
Pesto.
I played with one that had grass, the smell of grass, because I thought, football fields and, that smell of fresh cut grass. Like, I don't know what it is, but I go, anytime I catch myself in life going.
So, fun fact about cut grass, that's actually a defense for the grass. So it releases that smell to attract. So if you ever notice after you cut grass, you notice that birds will usually come. Yeah. It releases that smell to attract birds because the grass thinks it's actually being attacked by an insect or disease. So it'll actually release that smell as a stress signal or distress, that it's in distress.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually that it releases that as a...
This is probably the most educational podcast we've had.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you ever notice you cut your grass and then, birds or not fireflies, dragonflies. Yeah. Where you see dragonflies come. Yeah, that the smell is actually, the grass is actually signaling for them to come because the grass feels that it's being attacked by.
Now I feel for the grass.
Yeah, we're killing the grass. We're hurting it.
We're helping it, but it doesn't
temporarily harming it, which is bringing in the birds and dragonflies, which
then we'll eat whatever might be in the grass.
That would be in the grass. So
it's the cycle of life.
It's life.
It works.
Just like a candle, you light it, you blow it out, you trim the wick, and then you light it again.
Then you light it again, and then you blow it out. And if you're frank, you just burn it on, burn it up.
And then you go on the website and you buy another one.
And you get another one. And you recycle this. Or you can clean it out and use it as a glass.
See, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, it's not smooth like a glass, but I inspect each one, and I run my fingers over each one. Yeah, I've got some that I wasn't satisfied with because I want to know I would drink out of. Of course, I'd drink out of anything.
It's amazing, though. I'm just looking at that. These are wine bottles that have been cut, but they're made for consumption. Looking at this because, I'm an accountant, I have an engineer mind, is I'm noticing that there's some parts of this that are thicker in glass than other parts.
Yeah, it all depends on what kind of cutting method.
And you can see where they started in the cut usually.
And then how did they buff it out? Did they use a Dremel? So I've cut glass before, and the way I cut glass before was you would get a string, and you would dip the string in acetone, and then you would take the string in acetone, wrap it around, and then light it on fire. And the heat from the acetone would actually cut the glass.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I think this is the most educational. I've learned, but I like just go. Fine collection of wine.
Well, I forgot the other part. The other part is once you do it, you have to quickly dip it in cold water.
Right.
And then it'll snap. Usually it'll snap clean in half, but it would be jagged, so you would have to get a Dremel and sand it down.
Wow.
So yeah. So if you know people that you could figure out how to actually cut your own wine glasses. But that's a whole nother thing.
That's another. I wouldn't be able to charge $28 for these glasses.
Yeah,
because people say, "Well, do you cut your own glasses?" I said, "This candle would be $79 if I had to, source the bottles, So and I have to buy them in such bulk.
Yeah,
just from my house every on a Sunday.
You don't know how many friends call and say, "Hey, can I bring my?" No, I know you. I know you. No, do not bring me your 5 cases of empty wine bottles.
That's just 1 week, by the way, folks.
1 weekend.
and it probably wouldn't even be this size wine bottle. It'd probably be like an old
the big magnums.
No,
the
vintage.
Yeah, was it the
$8?
the Galliella?
Oh, the Gallo
Gallows, the Gallows.
Gallo gallons used to call.
Oh,
My dad kept that under the sink in the kitchen. He said, "Give me the wine." I'm like, "Okay." And he he flipped up on thinking he's like some big Italian dude pouring over. Yeah. That's all I knew. And then I actually lived out in Sonoma for about 6 years. I got an education.
I bet.
Yeah, because all I knew was the Gallo under the, and I went from college, which was like keg beer, Old Milwaukee's Best and Bud Light. And if we were really scraping pennies together, it was gold medal ribbon, $2.99 a 6-pack.
Some oldie.
Yeah.
Was it Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Yeah. Pabst Blue Ribbon. And then I go from that straight out to Northern California wine country. And that was a culture shock.
I can't imagine.
Not only to my mind, but my liver was like, "What the hell, man?"
Yeah. Yeah, livers they're so cantankerous.
I know, gosh.
I tell you.
The human body.
No. No, I always say part of the reason I chose this is, this is my amends to Mother Earth, because I feel like I'm personally responsible for at least 10,000 wine bottles in a wine field, a landfill somewhere, So I'm trying to give back, trying to make it right.
Well, I think it's great. I mean, the look is amazing.
Yeah, that green color just pops.
Yeah,
on there with the logo.
It's like you can see that from far away. This is your candle.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you blow it out, put the lid back on. That's another lesson. And it won't smoke, and it won't make that big mushroom.
So where can people, besides the website, where else are you selling your candles?
Oh, well, do you know Judy at the Tabby House?
Which one?
The Tabby House that's where the roundabout is. It's like a real little slave cabin made out of tabbies in the 1700s or whatever. It's across the street from where Winn-Dixie is. Mm-hmm. Been there, obviously forever. But the roundabout, so it's called Tabby House Gift Store.
Okay.
You gotta go in there. She's just the grooviest. She's like in her 80s, and she has a cat in there. She don't usually have the air conditioner. I've never known her have the air conditioning going, and she's just really groovy, and she's turned into my friend. So anyway, she sells them. She sells some of them there. There's on Jekyll Island a gift store called Whittles. It's
Okay.
old. Do you know Whittles?
I do,
Gift store.
yeah.
John Ferguson. He's a funny character, and so he sells them there. There are some at Waterfront Gifts in the village, right next to Frederica House. Not Frederica House, Frederick Station. Where all the toys. So you go, and that's a beautiful display. And you walk in, and it's the first thing you see.
Wow.
Right there. So they have a nice display. Who else? A hair salon, Char's Hair Salon. She peddles them.
She's a dealer.
It's like, yeah. So Steve Bullington, he has the men's store out by Brogan's North. So he talked to me this week about peddling them. It's kind of you got to sell them at the street level.
Right. You gotta have the dealer, and then you gotta have the
First
the
taste is
middleman,
free.
and then you got to get on down. Like I don't want to be slinging at a market. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And it's carrying it, because I've done it enough now, to just, it's labor intensive.
Carry all that stuff.
You gotta set up a tent, a table. You gotta pay for the spot.
And cases of candles, and it's for the middle age candlers in the world. So I need the street level.
You need the street level thuds.
Street level folks. Yeah. And then there's some also at Vintage Rummage Antiques on Reynolds Street.
Yep.
Kim owns that. And so first Fridays, I set up at her place if the weather's nice outside on the. And then if not, she clears out the first table when you walk in, a really nice table. And go on Instagram. There's probably some things where we have fun. I mean, it can be like more than PG-13. We just have a lot of fun. So on first Friday, you can find me at Rummage Antiques on Reynolds.
Okay.
Share the parking lot with Indigo.
Yeah.
That's all that's coming to me right now.
That's great, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good distribution for as long as you've been.
Not doing that long. That's what I say. It's unfolding. And now that the website, I need to talk to somebody about marketing.
Yeah.
How do you do? And
marketing. It's so tricky. Like even for us, like we. With the podcast, we put it on Instagram, tag all these things and use all these hashtags. And then sometimes we'll get 30 likes and then sometimes we'll do it and then it'll be 5 likes. It's it's so...
And that's just the social media part.
Yeah, and that's just part of social media marketing. It's so...
But, getting out there and more marketing is difficult, especially... when you're starting a new business and those people are out there looking for those new businesses to kind of hawk in and I can do this for you and I can do that for you. And you have to discern what is, and it can be overwhelming because I got that. People come in trying to sell me spaces on magazines or they hey, you can buy these placemats and it's a map and then your restaurant will be on it. I don't use placemats. So,
right. And
great idea, but
they already found it. If they're if they're already eating here, they already found it.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure.
And it's okay, you got $300. Where are you going to spend it?
Right.
It's okay, everybody's got an option.
Right.
Yeah, and so I have to get advice really from the young people. My sons, because there's the big AI. Get AI. And then I look at AI ads and I'm scroll past. But you give me, you guys, I immediately stopped because it was who are these fellas?
For
me, this is what it was. It was this is some of
it's real.
Yeah.
It's local. It's candles. I like candles. But really it was and we haven't really got to it yet. Starting a business. What is it like to start a business? As I know what it's like, but what was it like for you? And people are out here listening, and we do get good enough listens that maybe someone is thinking, has an idea. Not candles, but maybe the candy
Yeah.
or soap or something along those lines of like, I got an idea. So what was it like for you to start a business? Because it's
scary. Like
it's a lot to
business license tax.
All that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Like you got to get involved with. I don't know. I think first thing I would tell somebody, are you passionate about it? Because if you're just like, oh, I want my own business and Google what's a good business, and it's not gonna work. You gotta love this stuff. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You better get in it. Now it'll ruin whatever. I'm sure you don't go to a restaurant and order a cheesecake. You probably don't enjoy them. Like I used to candle junkie, right? Well, I don't enjoy candles like I used to. I know I can't. I go somewhere and a candle's burning, and I'm like, I think that's probably not the right wick. I think that's a bubble in there. I wonder, that top isn't very...
Yep.
And I'm like, just sit back and enjoy the candle. And I'm grading it.
Yeah, you're analyzing it. Yeah.
You do that?
I
just
actually I do that with movies because I've done background extra stuff on movies. So now I look at movies and I don't look at them. And also because I've had law enforcement training. So like if I see any action scenes that involve law enforcement or chasing a bad guy, firearms, I look at that and I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. Or I look at now I pay attention to the background. Like it's weird. I've never before when I watched movies, I never paid attention to it. But when I've done background work on movies, like I look at it and I'm like, I analyze way too much now, and I don't really sit down and sometimes I don't enjoy the movie.
You got to pull away from it, don't
Yeah,
you?
yes. And I can
you
see
have to
the same
remind
thing.
yourself,
Like I would, if I, like with the candles, I would be like, oh, well, it says vintage leather, but I don't smell any leather. I don't smell it. I don't.
What's vintage about that?
Yeah.
I'm wanting Fonzie.
Yeah.
I want to smell Fonzie.
The only thing vintage is probably the wine glass that it's in.
Yeah. No, it's true. There's, and I won't name the restaurant. There's one restaurant on the island that is probably a hair close to what I make it on. I won't name it. But if anyone's listening wants to guess, you can always send a comment on.
Can you give a hint? Like first letter is.
Did they win something or win a T-shirt?
It runs.
Oh man, a hint. What's a good hint? It's one of the smaller restaurants on the island.
Okay. Is it in a strip mall?
That's good. That's It's not in the village.
Exactly.
Let's put it that way.
It's in an area where there are other stores.
There could be other stores, yes.
And it's maybe even on the center.
No, it's not on the corner.
Okay. We just eliminated one.
Is it the Waffle House?
The Waffle House. Oh my gosh. Goodness gracious. No, we've gone out and tried. We'll go out and once in a while we will order like the cheesecake dessert and be like, yeah, this, you can tell this was bought somewhere else and brought it. You taste it and all you taste is just straight sugar, even though it's supposed to be like a caramel or chocolate or something like that. But you can't taste anything but sugar or chemical. Oh. And then the crust is literally paper thin, and it's not crumbly. It's kind of wet, which means it's been frozen for a very long time. And then they take it out and they keep it in the cooler for X amount of days.
Now, speaking about, you mentioned frozen. So I want to get back, that just something popped in my head with the candles. Like over time, if nobody buys buys the candle, which they will because these are amazing smells or scents, will the scent eventually degrade?
With the lid on, it would take a long, long, long time. The lid off, you're losing fragrance all the time. Like right now, let's put the lid. Let's put the lid on.
Wow.
So there is.
But they're a long time, long
So they'll
time.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you just
you just keep them tight. Yeah. I remember when I used to buy candles from those other companies, and they'd have a plastic thing and take it off and toss it.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know.
and then you never find it.
And then, and so it would lose. So by the time you get down to here, there's very little fragrance.
Right.
So it starts off, ooh, that's nice. And then if it burns too high or you don't use the lid, you get here, and it's okay. And down here, you don't smell so much.
Right.
And you've lost, this is important.
The lid. The lid's important.
Yeah. Okay. So
You blow it out,
Put the lid on.
and you put the lid on.
all right. So we're learning.
Then
stuff
you
here.
open it, you cut the wick, you burn it, you make sure it goes to the edge of the vessel.
So I know we usually come up on time here, but I do want to bring up one thing that we kind of talked about at the beginning of the hour is the wick. So, he did talk about all the different wicks. I see you've got a big pile of wicks there. Now, and then also I probably can imagine that the wick is probably the hardest part to center, get it on there, or just the different types of wicks and burning.
It takes some practice, that's all, to get some of them you still will see, but there's some, this goes, and then there's these.
Little sticky things, right?
These are wick stickers, right? So we put those on, and these wicks are CD6. There's a whole CD series. There's an Eco series. I mean, literally hundreds
Of different types of wicks.
of families, and then within each family, sizes. So I do CD 2, 4, 6, 8, 14. And so then I just kind of eyeball them. That's it. It's not too hard. Then I go to pour it, and I'm like, that is so off center. And then I redo it. And then let's see with the straw. So when I'm doing this guy, and I put that on there, I stick him in a straw. I bend him over, and I stick him in there.
Okay.
In the center. But then here's the thing. Can I take this off? I think this is what you're asking. Can you hold that for me, Free? That's it. Hang down.
Just show us how to do that. It's a wick.
You need to get one that's big.
Man, I like this.
Posing for the camera.
Okay, so how to get them centered? Oh.
Yep.
So this is the wick stabilizer. So we're going to do the wick, right? We're
Yeah.
going to wick that down. Then it looks like this.
Yeah, it's all
then,
exciting.
okay, then this is great. There's a lot of tools to do this. Some people use popsicle sticks or whatever.
Right.
But this is like professional kind of, and then there you go. It's stable. Now you can.
Then you can pour and it won't.
And then once I pour it, now I can recheck it and move it around if I need to. Now, a trick I've learned too is after I've screwed up and I get this, and it's off-centered. So take that off, it's poured. Now it's off-centered. Damn. And then I have some, sticks you cook meat on. Skewers. So I can take a skewer and put it down into there and pull it where I want it again, pop it in that again, and then you hate when that happens. Don't do it too hard. And then use a heat gun and remelt.
Okay.
Heat gun is a candler's best friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take away from the aromas or any type of ones.
No. No, especially mine. I go with a 10% fragrance load, is what they call it, fragrance load. Some of the other companies we were talking about are 6 to 8%.
Right.
So with a 10% fragrance load, you got a lot of extra fragrance to play with. My motto in life is more.
It's like getting a tattoo. The bigger, the better.
If you're gonna do it,
You gotta do it. Do it big. Just do
don't
it
get
big.
a little star right here.
No, get a big.
Get a skull with a pitchfork in his
Exactly.
head.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
with aliens and a
Grim
like
Reaper.
and the like symbol of death and everything.
Grim Reaper of the Tommy Bahama.
Yes.
There you go.
With it, drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah, Grim Reaper drinking coffee with the skull and the pitchfork. Yeah,
Just go for it.
just do it. If you're gonna grow a beard,
Grow a beard.
make sure you need a ponytail holder.
You do. You do.
Absolutely. Don't be like,
And if you're gonna make a candle, make it vintage leather.
make it smell.
Make it smell.
Make it smell
Like I wanna-
strong.
Like I want to fire up my 1985 Trans Am, get my leather jacket on,
Nice.
go for a ride.
Good. Good. There you go. It's yours.
This is a great smell.
And you get to try. Let's get for you. I think there's the top to the second to the right. Yeah, that's the no. Yes. Now this one is a dried gin and cypress. I think this will be the one for you.
And I have to say thank you to Paul Clark.
Yeah.
For
Thank you,
kinda-
thank you, Paul. We're gonna have to get him on the T-shirt.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's nice and clean.
That it's very clean.
Yeah.
And that how gin has that botanical.
That is.
The
juniper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it say?
A refined blend of botanical gin, balsam, oak, cedar, and cypress with a hint of red currant.
Currant. That's right.
Yeah.
It's got the red currant.
Yeah. So yeah. I could
It's very
drink this
complex. It's a complex fragrance
for a complex man.
for a very complex man.
Yes.
Extremely.
Or you can have Cafe Havana, or you can have anything you want. You are my guest in
Thank you so
in my
much.
studio. And I wanted to tell you one more thing that's important. You're talking about where can you go buy these products. I keep the studio open to the public, to my community. It's not like the public, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just us.
Yeah.
And so I'm open every Saturday for the holiday season from 10 to 1. So I tell people, come have a cup of coffee, do this. This is the best. It's the candles are what it's about, but really it's about connection. And man, I felt like I connected with both of you guys today.
Thank you.
And
This is great. This is why me and Buddha decided to do this. We want to connect.
I love that.
We want to connect with the community and
And the people in it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
there's so many great stories. You are a great story.
Yes.
And you're always welcome to come back here again. This was a blast.
yeah. 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 No,
This is a lot of fun.
yes.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And you're always welcome to come back too.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, this was fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on here.
Yes.
We really appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Thank you for finally saying yes. We had to wait until the website was up.
Website. I just felt like it needed
No,
the website
it
needed to
does.
be
Yeah.
up.
Because,
It's like it wasn't real.
Yeah, because when we wrap this up, we need to tell people where to go.
Yes.
Just to buy these amazing candles.
Come here
Okay. Yes.
on Saturday.
Saturdays.
And you don't have to pay shipping, and there's things that other governmental things that are different when you're here than when you're there. And
The government's listening.
I love the government. I think they got my back. Love them.
Love them.
I financially support them.
Just don't smuggle those candles.
The kiwi and the mango, I got an issue. Yeah. So come here on Saturday, have a cup of coffee, shoot the bull, and sniff some candles,
And buy some candles.
Buy some candles. What? This is where you're going to do your Christmas shopping.
Right.
This is the present for Christmas.
It is.
We all have everything we want in life. We need consumables for gifts.
Yeah.
Right.
We get cheesecakes, charcuterie boards, candles. Look, that's what we want to give to each other. You know, we've all got all the material. We got all the,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. At a certain stage, my kids, they're in their 20s, and it's kind of like one of these things, well, what do you want for Christmas? I don't need anything for Christmas. So I'm either buying, especially my son, because they usually need some kind of clothing. But what we've done is, because everyone's older, is that we get together and one person picks a charity. And everybody donates $50. They give it to that person, say, it's my turn this year. They give it to me, and then I donate to whatever charity of my choice. I might choose the Cancer Society this year. Next year, one of my cousins might choose something for, ADHD and autism, a charity. So each one has their own thing, because we're at the stage. I was like,
Got enough.
we got enough stuff.
We got stuff.
Yeah. So, but candle,
Too much.
now,
Candle, cheesecake.
yeah.
Gee, that were
So now our kids are starting to have kids. My cousin has just become the first grandfather of the cousins. And so the whole thing with toys and stuff like that, I got to start again. This little boy is going to be spoiled rotten because it's the first baby in a long time.
fun.
So I see a St. Simon's Island onesie and a few other things, in his stockings this year for Christmas. But
how fun to have a baby at the holiday.
oh my goodness, it's great and it's good. It's great to see my kids growing up and at the stage where they feel like they have everything that they need.
Yeah.
That they don't need anything, but I think my daughter, she just wanted to do it here a different way or diet or something like that, so I gave her for her birthday like $100 so she can go to the salon and do that.
Right.
That was my gift for her. My oldest, she's a nurse, so she might need something for nursing for work. That's fine.
New shoes.
Yeah. And,
Nurses need shoes. They are on their feet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
my son builds computers and he does all kinds of astronomy and physics stuff, and so we might need a new something for one of his computers. Okay.
That's cool that he's into that.
He was just here. He was just here for a week.
I wish I could have met him.
Oh, he's an interesting.
Yeah.
He's an interesting.
I studied
cat.
a lot of astronomy in undergraduate school.
He's all about.
Until we got to pure physics, and that was like, I'm out.
He was like 7 years old. He's talking about antimatter and dark matter and
Oh my
and time travel. And I'm sitting there
Talk about that shit all day.
reading Stephen Hawking's books, like starting lunch, so I can keep up with them.
Oh yeah.
Because I just couldn't,
Fascinating.
to talk about that stuff. But he's very well read. He loves his information. He loves his science. But he's learning to cook. He wants to learn to cook more. Last time I was out, I taught him how to cook chili. This time I gave him the whole family sauce and meatball, how to make homemade pasta. We made homemade pasta. And yeah, we had a smorgasbord and chicken cutlets. We had sauce, meatballs, chicken cutlets for chicken parmesan, fresh made spaghetti. We made like 5 minutes before we even put it into the pot. That's how fresh it was.
Yeah. There's a candle you can call it Sunday.
Man, I've never even had that kind of thing.
It was funny because I did that once. I posted on Instagram, and then some guy sent me a message on Instagram. Was like, "I'll take a pound of your pasta, 24 meatballs, and 2 quarts of sauce." And I'm like, "What? what?" I'm like, "Okay." And I met him in the Target parking lot, and he gave me like $260 for it all.
That's awesome.
Because you can't get that kind of stuff.
No.
But
Wow.
it's one of those things that is just. I'm passionate about is the cooking, and that comes out in the cheesecakes because the cheesecakes that I do, and there's such an array of cheesecakes that I do. Like I say, I love the challenge of doing new things. like the banana pudding cheesecake, the stout beer and dark chocolate cheesecake. So it's very different kind of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. And it's like what you do. You pick things that you like.
Yeah.
And so I'm all like that. You do the things that you like. If you like it, other people like it.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about your son doing all that stuff. That's awesome. Like my spirituality is rooted in quantum physics.
Yes.
I mean, it brought quantum physics quantum physics, psychology, and religion. It just, those things just and it was quantum physics that pulled it all together. Really made me who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really
What Einstein said, the spooky stuff.
Yes. Well, I told him he's gotta do some more schoolwork this year, and if he does, he'll come out for spring break.
Yeah.
So I'll bring him by.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll have a bunch of questions.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
I know just enough to be groovy.
We'll have to maybe have a podcast.
Ah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something.
That would be
That
it.
would be something.
Yeah.
That'd be see how
Yeah.
Daniel would react to that.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, yeah. I think it'll be fine.
I think so.
Yeah. And so, but no, thank you so much. So
Yes. Thank you so much for having
a
us.
pleasure. I mean, I've learned a lot. This was a exciting talk. Once again, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been the most educational.
Yeah, and one more time on the website so the listeners can know where to find your stuff, the products.
Waterway Candle Co.com.
Awesome.
Yes. Come by on Saturdays during the holiday season.
Saturday. Come here and see me. Come and see me, because this really I want relationship with my customers. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, yeah, great. I get a bunch of wet. Great. But to have relationship with your customers, that's the beauty.
Yes,
That's what I'm looking. So come Saturdays, 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
210 Ashton Tilly. Go to the left side of the house, through the gate, around the garden.
Through the Zen garden.
There's Zen Garden.
Zen garden.
The scent will draw you in. Once again,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.